not to be considered. You're not to infer that this is by me. Important. Opening statements and closing arguments of the attorneys are important, but they're intended to help you in the understanding of the evidence and applying the law. But those statements and arguments are not evidence. You must not be influenced in any degree by any personal feeling of sympathy for or prejudice against the parties or their counsel. It is the special duty of a juror to scrutinize and weigh carefully the testimony of the witnesses and to determine the effect of the evidence as a whole. You are the sole judges of the credibility of the several witnesses and the weight to be given to their testimony. In determining such weight, you should consider the witnesses' interest or lack of interest in the result of the trial, their conduct and demeanor of the witness stand, their bias or prejudice, if any has been shown, the clearness or lack of clearness of their recollections, their opportunity for observing, and the reasonableness of the testimony given. You should take into consideration also all other facts and circumstances appearing during the trial which either tend to support or discredit the testimony of the entitled to receive. If during the course of the trial I say or do anything which suggests to you that I'm inclined to favor the claim or position to be influenced by any such suggestion. Until the case is finally submitted to you for your deliberation, you must not discuss with anyone or remain within the hearing of anyone discussing it, nor read any newspaper article, listen to any radio broadcast, review any television program which discusses this case, or any type of social media. After this case has been finally submitted to you, you must not discuss this case. After this case has been submitted to you, you must discuss this case only in the jury room and all the members of the jury are present. You're to chew in this case until the case is finally under the instructions of the court. Just as Mr. Hardin said to you in the voir dire. Wait till the very end of everything is gathered in, the closing arguments, then you'll make your determinations. You should not under any scene or otherwise make any inquiry or investigation outside of this court. All right? Ladies and gentlemen, if you'll raise your right hands, please. Do you swear or affirm that you will impartially try this case between these parties?
Between those rooms. So if you're in the kitchen, you can see into the living room. Houston was in the kitchen side and Kaylee's on the living room side. And Kaylee starts throwing glass objects at Houston. There's a vase thrown, there's some shot glasses thrown, some other items. You'll see the broken glass on the floor. Houston throws something back at her too. Houston gets cut on the face. You're going to see a large cut on his face. His face starts bleeding. Brittany's going to tell you at this point that she sees Kaylee go around into the kitchen and get a large knife. Kaylee gets the large knife, and Houston takes the knife away from her and gets her down on the floor and is standing over her. Brittany says Dennis then takes the knife from Houston and puts it somewhere, out of the way. Dennis will tell you he was very intoxicated. Dennis's memory of this incident is not as good as Brittany's. Dennis doesn't recall setting that knife somewhere. Dennis doesn't recall seeing a knife at that point. At this point, again, the two are separated. Houston leaves. He goes into his bedroom, which is right next to the kitchen, and he goes into the bathroom to look at his face, which is bleeding. He's checking on his face. While that's going on, Brittany's going to tell you that she's talking to Kaylee, and she's saying, Kaylee, come on, just go home with me. This is stupid. This is a dumb fight. Let's just leave. There's no need for you to stay here. You can spend the night with me. At that point, Brittany says, Kaylee goes, no, I'm not leaving my TV here. I want my TV. He'll break it. If I leave my TV here, he'll break it. So they go into the bedroom, into Houston and Kaylee's bedroom, to unhook the TV. Initially, he goes into the garage and gets some wire cutters. And he comes back and he's trying to unhook the TV, and they are again yelling at each other back and forth, both of them screaming at each other. And at some point he says, you're not taking the TV. You're not getting the TV. At that point, again, they're screaming and yelling at each other. Brittany will tell you at this point she's in front of Kaylee, and she's trying to push Kaylee out of the bedroom. Brittany says Kaylee breaks away from her. Brittany says she was kind of hesitates for a minute, stops. So she doesn't see when Kaylee runs back into the bedroom. Dennis is in the bedroom. Dennis says in the bedroom. Dennis says he sees a knife in Kaylee's hand. Kaylee and Houston make contact. Houston is stabbed 1 time in the chest, resulting in a hole in his heart. At this point, Brittany comes back in the room. She sees Kaylee with the knife. Dennis pushes Houston into the bathroom and closes the door. And Brittany says at this point, Kaylee picks up an iron. There's an ironing board in the bedroom. She picks up an iron and throws the iron at the bathroom door. And you can see the damage on the bathroom door. And you can see the damage on the bathroom door. Throw things at each other and yell, that this was nothing uncommon. She says that she was planning to leave him that night, that she had a friend wire her some money that day, and she was going to move out. And that's why this whole fight started that night. You're going to hear her account of things. She initially tells the police that when Houston is stabbed, that they're in the kitchen, and that she goes like this. She goes like that. And that's how he ended up getting stabbed. She says that at the time she stabbed him, that she was being choked by Houston, and to get him off of her, she goes like this with the knife, and she swipes. You'll hear from the medical examiner. He'll explain to you what the cause of death is. He'll show you the injury, and it's 1 stab wound to the chest. Everybody's interviewed several times. Initially, the night of, the police make brief contact at the scene with Brittany and Dennis Melbourne, Brittany Jones, Dennis Melbourne. And let me tell you too, Dennis Melbourne has a nickname. He goes by DJ Madden. So whenever anybody in the case is talking about Madden or DJ Madden, they're talking about Dennis. So sometimes people refer to him as DJ Madden, and sometimes they refer to him as Dennis. It's the same person. So present at this scene were Houston, Kaylee, Dennis, Brittany, and Brittany's son. And Brittany's son, I believe the testimony is going to be that he was asleep and didn't see any of this. Dennis's initial contact with the police, he says, I didn't see anything. I was asleep and just woke up. There was a ruckus. I don't know what happened. As he's interviewed later, he reveals that that's not the case, that he did actually see a lot of what transpired, but he was intoxicated, and his memory on some of the details is fuzzy. Brittany made initial contact with Officer McShane at the scene, and then she later talked to Detective Franks at the station. She was interviewed at the station, as was Mr. Melbourne, the night of. Also, Kaylee Whitehall made contact with Officer Bowman initially at the scene. A brief statement was given, and then she was also interviewed at the station by Detective Hughes. She was interviewed the night of. Photographs were taken of her. And then she was interviewed again. And photographs were taken of her on day 2 and then again on day 5 to show if there were any injuries present to Ms. White as well. Also, from the scene, several items of evidence were collected. Those will be shown to you and will be introduced later in the trial. So I think what you're going to find when you hear this case is you've got to take everybody's statement into consideration that was there and see how all those statements fit with the evidence. And determine who you think is the most credible witness of the people that were present. And at this time, I'd like to show you a video that was taken of what the interior of this residence looks like. You're going to see when the video starts that it starts at the front of the residence. And you can see as we go through, I'll show you the rooms that they're going to be discussed during this case. It starts off with the garage on the side of the house, and you can see in the garage that it's actually fixed up like a den. There's a chair there, there's a bar set up, so it's not your typical garage, and that's why it's referred to as the downstairs. From there, you'll move into the front of the house. There's a foyer. Immediately to the left, you'll see a dining room. The dining room and the kitchen and the living room are all kind of open. You can walk from the dining room into the kitchen, and from the kitchen, you can see into the living room because there's a cutout in the kitchen. And you're going to see immediately off the kitchen is Houston's bedroom and bathroom, which we refer to. The living room. This is the garage or the downstairs area that you'll hear testimony about. The other area of the home. The kitchen area. The bedroom area. the television I told you in question, where Houston collapsed. So I mentioned to you, Ms. Whitehall was interviewed by the police a few times, and initially she told all of the officers that she was in the kitchen when this crime occurred and she was being choked when she emotion like this off of her, so he would stop choking her. Her final statement that she gave to Detective Hughes after he discussed to her the medical findings and the proof at the scene, she gave a different statement and indicated that it didn't occur in the kitchen, that it actually occurred when she was running back into the bedroom, and that as she's running back into the bedroom, she picks up a knife off the counter, and that she's holding the knife and she flinches, and that's how Houston Johnson is stabbed. And that's her final statement to the police. There's more detail that we'll get into as the case unfolds, but I wanted you to have an overview of everything you're going to hear and what the witnesses will be saying in this case, so you'll know what this case is about and what rooms we're specifically referring to. But at the end of this case, after the Commonwealth has presented our case to you and you've heard from all the witnesses, we believe that you'll be compelled to find her guilty of reckless homicide. Thank you.
Dee, do you wish to make your opening statement or reserve?
I wish to open, Your Honor. Please, the court.
Ms. Cohagen. Good afternoon again, ladies and gentlemen. You know, the time to give the opening statement, it's really, let's give kind of a roadmap on how we believe the evidence is going to come out in the case. And as Ms. Cohagen said, each of the three adults who were witnessed, who were there that night, gave several different statements, some that night, some the next day. And ironically, for the most part, I think you're going to hear from the evidence that there's a lot of agreement on what happened. There's a few little minor discrepancies, if you will, inconsistencies with what one person said compared to the other. And they all three did that, both Brittany and DJ and Kaylee. And I think that you'll be able to see from the evidence that I don't believe it came across as anybody trying to be deceptive or lying. It's just, I think the evidence is going to show that as they got a good night's sleep and reflected on things, there were more details that came out. So it's a little bit different in criminal cases, because usually you have two completely different sides of the story, but really there's a lot of agreement. So here's basically what happened. You know, as Ms. Cohagen said, Kaylee and Houston, they were in a pretty long-term relationship, 3.5 years. It was certainly one that had elements of violence and yelling and screaming and cursing. You're going to hear that on this particular day, again, as Ms. Cohagen indicated, that Kaylee had made the decision that she had had enough of the abuse that had been occurring, and she had contacted a friend, actually an old boyfriend from California, his name's Ryan, and some money was wired to her so that she could get out of that situation and get on with her life. On the night in question, Kaylee got to the residence after working a shift at AFNI here in town. I think the testimony is going to be that she got home, it was around 8:30 or so. She says when she gets there, you know, everything's fine at first. There's some messages on her phone communicating with Ryan about the money.
She goes to the bathroom without her phone. She comes out and she notices that Houston's demeanor has dramatically changed. And of course, everybody is drinking, except the child, of course. He had, I think, Miss Jones and DJ had helped do some homework. But they were drinking. You're going to hear testimony from Brittany that on her initial statement that she made literally right after this happened, some home, but they were drinking. You're going to hear Kaylee. I'm not sure what her status is. She's quite a bit smaller than that. You're going to hear testimony that she was in a headlock or being choked. The fight that escalated in the downstairs actually went into the house, were put into a headlock. You're also going to hear testimony, and this has a little discrepancy in it. It is true that Kaylee did say the day after this happened that while standing in the kitchen, Houston's behind her choking her, and she made this reflexive move, and that's where she put Detective Hughes, who, with the Bowling Green Police Department, several officers involved. They did, as I said, multiple interviews with multiple, was not arrested. I feel like they had sufficient evidence to make a warrantless arrest, charging her with any crime, because of the fluidity of the situation, the history that they had, and the potential that this is a self-defense case. So they did not make an arrest. You're also going to hear testimony that at the conclusion of the police investigation, the case was presented to the grand jury, and as the court instructed the grand jury, they don't determine if you're guilty or not guilty, they just issue the charge, and that's where we are here today. So there's not a lot of facts in dispute. Mr. Melbourne, DJ Madden, in some of his several statements that he gave, one in particular.
This is 2015 at approximately 0045, requesting assistance at Kentucky.
We did.
All right, and how is this call recorded?
All calls that we receive, they as they come in, they're recorded and simultaneously on a hard drive for a computer in our facility, in our building, and also in the Information Technology Center for Commonwealth Health Corporation, which is a separate site up on Hospital Hill.
And are you one of the custodians of the 911 calls?
Yes.
Right. Your Honor, may I approach?
Yes, ma'am.
I'll ask you if you can please identify this.
Yeah, that's a disc that was burned with the audio from the run that's in question.
Your Honor, I would request permission to play this for the jury.
No objection.
No objection.
Yes. I think yeah, thank you.
Are you right by him now? Remove any pillows, okay? He's on the floor. His mouth and tell me if there's anything. Okay, place your hand on his forehead. Okay?
Wake up, wake up. Wake up. Wake up, son. Wake up, man. Wake up, man. Houston, wake up. Oh my fucking God, dog.
Can you feel or hear any breathing from his mouth?
I can't hear any breathing at all.
Okay. Paramedics are on their way now. Listen carefully. I'm going to tell you how to do chest compressions, okay? Make sure he's flat on his back on the ground. I want you to place the heel of your hand on his breastbone in the center of his chest.
Hold on. Yeah, one more time.
I want you to place the heel of your hand on his breastbone in the center of his chest, right in between the nipples. We're going to put your other hand on top of that, okay? Alright, push down firmly 2 inches deep with the heel of his hand touching the center of his chest. Now listen carefully, okay? We're going to pump the chest hard and fast at least twice per second. Let the chest come all the way up in between pumps, okay? I want you to count out loud and I'm going to count with you, okay? Alright, so here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 30. No, please, someone, please. Keep going, keep going, keep going. Keep doing chest compressions with me. You're doing a great job. 1, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Keep going.
You're doing a great job. Keep going, keep going, keep going. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Compressions, all right? Are you doing them? Just keep doing on with this rhythm. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, now they should be outside, okay? I want you to keep going until they take over. Okay, keep doing the chest compressions until they can take over, okay? Don't stop. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. They're outside now. Are they right with him? No, ma'am, they're still outside. They're coming in. Okay, keep doing the chest compressions until they're right beside you, okay? Don't stop. Don't stop. Keep going. All right, keep going. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Doing a great job. Just keep going.
Thank you. You may ask.
Just a couple questions. Good afternoon, Mr. Williams.
Good afternoon.
When did holding the in the early morning hours of September
It was 45 minutes after midnight when the call was received.
and 168 Lost River Lane, just for the jury, just so they know, that's out Nashville Road off Cave Mill Road area, is that correct?
Yes.
That's all I have for you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anything else, Ken?
No, sir.
Mr. Williams, you may step down.
Thank you.
Lane, just for the jury, just so they know, that's out Nashville Road off Cave Mill Road.
It's Caleb Calsey, C-A-L-S-E-Y,
And where are you employed?
with the City of Bowling Green Fire Department.
How long have you been employed there?
Be-
Jury about the training that
in the beginning of the year, you receive 400 hours state certified. Also, specialty training, and then I'm also
And did you respond to a call at 168 Lost River Lane on September the 10th, 2015?
yes, ma'am.
And what was the purpose of you responding to this call?
We called out for medical assist to assist the medical center EMS. I think the call came out, if I remember correctly, as a collapsed lung.
Okay. And can you tell the jury what you observed when you arrived at this residence?
Had arrived and secured the scene. Into the apartment. I believe.
Okay. And ask you to look through those, please, real quick. Depictions of the residents at 116. And Your Honor, I'm going to need to use that. Nicest photograph. And you recognize Thomas exhibit number 2. And is this where treatment was being administered?
Yes, ma'am.
And is that in a restroom?
Yes, ma'am.
Off the master bedroom?
Yes, ma'am.
Let me ask you, when you were administering aid or assisting in the administer of aid, did you all move any furniture or move anything inside this residence?
Yes, ma'am.
All right.
I moved a end table that was next to the couch. I moved a potted plant that was sitting on the end table. I moved the couch over, kicked it over at an angle, and then also moved a surround sound speaker.
All right. Can you step down for just a moment?
Yes.
Can you point to the items on that photograph that that were moved?
This table, this couch, there's a tower speaker right there, and a potted plant.
All right.
And
And where
also
was
rolled up the carpet there.
okay? Where was that table located before you moved it?
At the end of the couch when the couch was straight.
Okay. Thank you. And that is almost exhibit number 3.
Yes, ma'am.
And is that the bathroom where the victim was located?
Yes, ma'am.
And you also recognize Commonwealth's Exhibit number 5?
Yes, ma'am.
And is that a photograph of a knife that was located? Did you see anybody other than the victim at this residence?
Yes, ma'am. I found her, saw her. The only people I remember.
Response.
Just, you're talking about just, I think I helped bring the cot in and out with the patient on.
All right. Thank you. And Your Honor, I've moved. Thank you.
Any?
I have no questions.
Thank you, sir. You may step down.
Blake Allen.
Officer Allen, if you'll come down and be sworn by the clerk, please.
Raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Please state.
B-L-A-K-E, last name Allen, A-L-L-E. Bowling Green Police Department.
How long have you been employed there?
Since November.
Officer.
Every police officer goes to the department. I was in there for 22 weeks. I was accepted recognition expert program, and I successfully completed that as well.
And can you please tell the jury if you responded to one September 10th, 2015? Why were you dispatched to this location?
I was dispatched to this location to assist that they were CPR